Walking slow down my own street, strangers smile when our eyes meet. Doesn't matter at all.
Welcome to the Kindness Matters podcast, a show that celebrates the powerful truth that kindness can change the world. Every week I aim to shine a light on people and organizations making a positive difference in their communities, proving that compassion, empathy, and connection still thrive, even in challenging times. This podcast is about more than good stories, though. It's about real impact. Through heartfelt conversations, inspiring acts, and everyday examples of humanity, the Kindness Matters podcast invites listeners to rediscover the power of kindness as a force for healing, growth, and genuine connection. If the message of this show resonates with you, please share it with your friends and family. Each share helps spread the light a little further, because when it comes to kindness, the ripple effect is limitless.
Voice of the crowd, I see neighbors helping.
Hi, friends, and welcome to the Kindness Matters podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rathbun. I am so glad that you're here with us today. I appreciate you. Today's conversation is one that I've been thinking about for a while. It's something subtle, something that hides in plain sight, and it's how we speak and post online and how we talk about other people. It's something I used to talk a lot about on my previous podcast, the Pork Pond Gazette. That ran from 2020 to 2022. It was a current events show, and it seemed like the theme of today's show was something that it was everywhere back then, right? I assumed, maybe naively, that it would die down, that it would go away, but it hasn't. In fact, it's only gotten worse. I'm talking about overgeneralization. When we paint whole groups of people with broad brushstrokes, you've heard it, right? Things like all politicians are corrupt, or millennials are just lazy, or that region is full of idiots, whatever the case may be, right? Those kinds of statements have become way, way too common. We hear them in our feeds, our news, even from our leaders, right? We've all heard it. And little by little, they can change how we see each other. They chip away at kindness. This episode is not about politics. It's about people. It's about how we think, how we talk, how we choose to be kind in a time when generalizations divide us. So let's explore this together. Now, overgeneralization, it sounds like a fancy word, but it's something that we all do, right? It's when we take one idea, one person, or one experience and use it to define an entire group. It's our brain doing some mental math that looks like, okay, I met one person who fit this description, so everyone like that must be the same. For example, that one teenager on the block was rude, so all teens are disrespectful. Or when your favorite coffee shop is short-staffed and you say, young people don't want to work these days. It's a shortcut. And shortcuts in thinking aren't always bad, right? But when they erase individuality, they become unkind. We stop seeing people as complex, layered human beings and start seeing them as categories. And once we do that, empathy, real heart-level empathy, gets squeezed out of the picture. So let's talk for a minute about the psychology behind it, why we do that, why we overgeneralize. It turns out it's not always because people are hateful or mean-spirited. It's because our brains love efficiency. Psychologists like Dr. Susan Fink at Princeton explain that categorizing is a survival mechanism. Thousands of years ago, our brains had to make quick decisions. Is this person safe or dangerous? Friend or foe? There wasn't time to collect detailed information. Labels kept us alive. The problem is that same ancient system still runs in our modern world, where complexity is the rule, not the exception. So instead of deciding whether the rustle in the grass is a tiger, we decide what kind of person someone is based on appearance, accent, religion, or even political identity. Social psychology research, like studies from the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, show that these mental shortcuts, also called schemes, make it easier for stereotypes to survive. And once a stereotype repeats in our conversations, in our media, our social feeds, I know you've seen it all in Facebook comments, that sort of thing, it strengthens the bias loop. Even casual repetition, like a meme or a joke, can shape what we subconsciously believe about whole groups. That's why this matters so much. Language doesn't just describe reality, it creates it. Let's talk about the human side of this, okay? Because beyond the psychology and the data, there's pain here. Think about a moment when someone misjudged you, when they assumed something based on your age, your job, your clothes, or even your hometown. Do you remember how that felt? Small, misunderstood, maybe even angry. Now imagine that happening not once, but over and over and over again, and being broadcast to millions of people as truth. That's what overgeneralization does to entire communities. When immigrants are called criminals, when people with disabilities are mocked or made fun of, when people requiring assistance for food or housing are called lazy or scammers, when a political group is written off as heartless or stupid, it doesn't just sting, it shapes policy, opportunity, and even belonging. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that persistent stereotyping contributes to higher stress, social isolation, and reluctant participation in public life. When you constantly feel misrepresented, you start to withdraw. And here's the heartbreaking part. Kindness can't thrive where empathy has been replaced by assumptions. Overgeneralization tells us they don't deserve compassion. Kindness says every individual deserves to be seen. So what can we do about it? How do we shift from divisive speech to kind communication without losing honesty or conviction? Here are a few ways to start. First, pause before repeating or sharing blanket statements. If you catch yourself saying, "those people," stop and ask, who do I really mean? Have I actually met anybody from that group? That's important, right? Because I see a lot of people slamming a particular ethnic group or community, and I'd lay good money that they've never actually met or even worked with a member of that group. Second, use person-first language. Say, people who are unhoused, not the homeless. Say, people with disabilities, not the disabled. It centers the person, not the label. Third, approach differences with curiosity. Instead of assuming, ask questions. Learn what's behind someone's perspective. You don't have to agree to be kind, but you do have to be curious to connect. Fourth, model it. When you're at a dinner table or in a comment thread and someone says, "They're all criminals," you can respond calmly with something like, "I know people in that group who don't fit that description. I think there's more to the story." Kindness does not have to be loud. Sometimes it's just steady. If you want to see how powerful words can be, try this small experiment. For one day, notice the generalizations you hear or think. Write them down, not to judge yourself, but to see how often our brains default to shortcut thinking. Then challenge one or two of them with real stories. For example, when you read a headline or a social post that says, "All of them are like this," pause. Instead of scrolling, go find a story of someone in that group who defies that narrative. You'll be amazed how quickly your empathy reconnects. And the benefit doesn't stop there. This practice grows your patience, your humility, and your understanding. And that, my friends, is the soil that kindness grows in. As we wrap up here, I just want to leave you with this thought. Overgeneralization may seem like just words, but words are never just words. They carry intention. They shape empathy. And empathy shapes how we treat one another. When we slow down, when we resist the urge to oversimplify, for example, we make space for something softer and braver. Kindness, rooted in truth. We start to see people as individuals again, nuanced, complicated, beautiful in their differences. So this week, as you move through conversations, pause and ask yourself, am I seeing a person or just a label? Because the more we choose to see people clearly, the more kindness becomes our default setting. Thanks for spending some time with me. I am so grateful for you for listening, reflecting, and being part of a community that truly believes kindness matters. Until next time, be well, stay curious, and choose kindness.
It's kindness we all really seek. Human first, before the names, before the labels, before the blame. Hearts all beat in the same verse. We're different, but we're human first. On the news, the anger's loud, but it's not the voice of the crowd. I see neighbors help